Hi there, it's Kathy with Sycamore Cotton, and this video has 3 red, white, and blue projects that are so fun and so beautiful. So let's get started. These 3 projects were all done in one sitting, so I'll be going back and forth between the 3 projects. I'm starting off with these spindles. I was giving an entire Jenny Lind baby bed a couple of years ago. I had seen it on Marketplace and the lady was selling it, and I think it was going to be $10. And when I called her and said, leave it out for me, I'll come get it and I can leave your money or Venmo you or whatever, because she was not going to be home and it was an hour's drive away from me. So she just said, I'm just going to leave them by the garage door and you can just have them. You won't need to pay me. Really thoughtful and very generous and kind of her. So I brought home the full baby bed and started taking it apart. And I've not really used a whole lot of the spindles. I've made a few things with them, but not a whole lot. And so I decided I would cut them down and paint them red, white, and blue, and bundle them together and wrap with twine and a little embellishment. The paint colors I'm using are Crimson by Waverly for the red, In the Navy by Dixie Belle for the blue, and Plaster by Waverly for the white. While those were drying, I moved on to the next project, and that little bowl is one that I got from Dollar Tree about, I don't know, 4 years ago. They had those, and I got a couple of them just to use in my home decor. So I got the one bowl out, put a piece of styrofoam in, and I have these beautiful geraniums that I had gotten from Michael's a few years ago, and I used them for a while in a wreath that I really did not like, so I had taken it apart and just put the flowers in my collection of florals, and they just popped in mind with this bowl. I thought, how beautiful would it be to fill this beautiful blue and white bowl with some gorgeous red flowers, and these geraniums were the perfect ones to do it. So I just put in a piece of styrofoam. I only used hot glue because I can take that out easily and clean it up if I wanted to use this bowl in a different way. After cutting the stems down, I started putting them in all around the sides of the styrofoam so that they just laid at the top of the bowl. Then I started adding them to the middle, and I just barely had enough flowers to do this. In fact, if I hadn't had the leaves to tuck in, I would not have had enough because there were some places that were a little bare between the geranium flowers. But these worked out fine. I just stuck those leaves in there. I did not glue them in or even apply them with a pin that could stick into the styrofoam. So this is just for me. I won't be selling it. I'll just need to be really careful with it. Next is this candlestick holder that I thrifted just a couple of days ago, and I knew when I got it that I just wanted to put a white paint on it and then distress that back a little. I think that look sells well for me, and I knew that it would be simple and easy and would go perfectly with the red, white, and blue decor pieces that I've been working on. So here I'm using, again, Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and I'm brushing the first coat on. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll pounce on the second coat so that I don't have any brush marks. One thing that I did before painting though is I did take it, oh dear, you just saw me cleaning up the mess of paint. I knocked the paint over, and thankfully it just went on the paper towel. It did not run into the floor. I was able to scoop a lot of it and get it back into the jar, but yeah, that wasn't a good moment for me. But anyway, before painting it, I did take it out and spray it with a clear matte spray. I did that to hopefully make sure that there would be no bleed through from the dark stain that was on the parts of it. And also that middle piece is kind of metal or a hard plastic, I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure that the paint would adhere. And usually chalk paint does adhere to everything, but I didn't want to take any chances with this. So let's see, here I'm getting on the second coat, and as you can see, I'm just pouncing it on. And while doing that, I realized that there is a little bit of bleed through coming through. There was one spot on the stem of the candlestick holder, and around the base where the round parts of the base, there was just a little bit peeping through around there. So I had to stop the painting, let it dry, and then give it another coat just in those areas, and that ended up taking care of the problem. After it had dried, I then just pulled out my sandpaper and started sanding around the edges and the places that would naturally have aged over the years. And then all I had to do was seal it. Oops, I forgot that I also painted the bottom. Because I am going to sell it, I want to make sure that it looks very nice and tidy on the bottom. So one coat of black paint takes care of that. Now let's finish up these spindles. So I grouped them in red, white, and blue, 3 spindles, and I lightly sand each one to bring back some of the natural wood color, or the stained wood color rather. I make sure that the ends are sanded down smooth from where I had cut. I did some of that before painting them, but then decided to come back and do more. I use a damp rag to remove the dust, and then I place them together and get some twine. I wrap the twine around them several times, pulling very tightly to make sure that they are nice and secure. I imagine I could have put a dab of hot glue between the spindles to make sure they held together, but this seems to work pretty well by wrapping several times and making sure you get a nice tight knot on it. So I think it looks so cute, and I go ahead and make the other 2 bundles. I didn't get it recorded because my battery on my phone died just at the end of getting these put together, but I also pulled out 3 wooden tags and painted them red, white, and blue. Did the same steps with distressing them and adding a little bit of Waverly dark wax to them and tying them onto the twine. So you'll see that in the final picture. But like I said, my camera, as usual, the battery died in the middle of something. And here are the 3 projects finished. I absolutely love how they all came together and how they all worked so well together for a grouping. The flower vase is on a pedestal that I had made some years ago just by gluing a saucer to a old candle holder, and then painting it white as well. And then for just another added layer, I have the bowl sitting on 2 saucers that have a blue and white border. I had thrifted those saucers sometime back and just happened to remember having them and thought, oh, that'll be great to sit the bowl on. So I think these turned out beautiful. I do have another video planned for you that is already in the working that I hope to have out this Thursday, but I wanted to get this one up today since I missed my getting one to you last week. So stay tuned for that one. We'll call it Americana Part 2. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know which one of these projects that you liked best, and I'll see you in a few days.